If you desire to move to Europe without any job offer, then you should be looking for those countries that can make that possible. You should be targeting countries that will allow you to go to those countries on a job seeker visa. Once you get there, you will be legally allowed to search for a job or even create one while you are already in that country. As of now, the first two countries that implemented this job seeker visa were Germany and Austria, but Sweden has equally joined that list. Because of labor shortage in Sweden, the Swedish government is making it possible to go there on a job seeker visa. I should indicate that as of past January 2023, Sweden had more than 500,000 job openings, and that number has continued to increase, which has made the government of Sweden open to hiring foreigners to fill out those job positions. If you want to know more about this great opportunity, make sure you watch this video until the end. But first, before we get into the details, please, if you know you've not yet subscribed to the channel, why not begin by subscribing and make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you will always be notified whenever there are great opportunities like this one. Hello everyone, Daddy Cliff here. In today's video, I will explain what the Swedish job seeker visa is all about. I will look at the eligibility criteria for you to get this job seeker visa as stated here in this website. Requirements for a resident permit. In order to obtain a resident permit to seek employment or explore the possibilities for starting a business in Sweden, you must have completed studies corresponding to an advanced level degree, plan to seek employment or explore the possibilities for starting your own business, be able to support yourself during the period for which you are applying for a permit, and have money to cover the cost of your journey home. Then I would look at how to have comprehensive health insurance that is valid for you to obtain this visa. I would look at the passport and other necessary documents that will be required for you to apply for this visa. Then it is important to also know that you should currently be located outside of Sweden. We'll look at all of these things in details. The first requirement was have completed studies corresponding to an advanced level degree. What is it all about? It says here what counts as an advanced level degree. For a degree to count as an advanced level, it must correspond to a 60 credit master's degree or a 120 credit master's degree, professional degree worth 60 to 333 credits, or a postgraduate PhD level, which means if you have a master's degree where you earned at least 60 credits before graduation, then you can apply. If you had a master's degree where you earned at least 120 credits before you graduated, then you're equally good to apply for this visa. If you had a professional degree worth 60 to 333 credits or at least a PhD, then you are equally eligible for application for this visa. It is also important for me to state here that those who equally take online professional training that are in the fields or job positions that are in high demand in Sweden can equally apply for this visa. But then you do not only need to have an advanced level degree, you must fulfill this condition. In your application, you must enclose a letter of consent that gives the Swedish Council for Higher Education the right to contact higher education institution in your home country to verify your educational document. The Swedish Migration Agency then sends your documents to UHR so that they can assess your level of education. The Swedish Migration Agency cannot answer questions about the level of your degree before you have made your application. It is important for me to state here that you will have to fill out this form. It is called letter of consent. Letter of consent for the Swedish Council for Higher Education to contact the country of your education. You would write your name, the date, and then you would sign. This is to give them an authorization. For example, I did my master's and PhD in South Korea, master's in Aju University in South Korea. I would have to sign this document if I want to apply for this position and then give it to them. This document gives them the authority to contact Aju University to investigate my claim that I had a master's degree at that university. They would contact Aju and Aju would provide them with every proof that yes, I was one of their students. And if they want every other document from Aju, this letter of consent will give them the right to demand any document that they might want from Aju University, be it your degree certificate or your transcript. This document gives them the authority to verify those documents directly from Aju University. And once they've received this document, the next thing that they will do is they will send it to UHRO. UHRO will then have to assess your level of education to see if it is equivalent to the Swedish system of education. The statement here, the Swedish Migration Agency cannot answer questions about the level of your degree before you have made your application, which means if you have not yet applied, they have not yet received any documents like your transcript or your degree certificate, which they can use to like compare your level of education to that of Sweden. They cannot answer any questions about that, which means you must formally submit an application, and then they would have to assess it. From there, they would be able to answer questions. If you've not yet made any formal application, do not contact them. The second condition or requirement that must be fulfilled during the application for the Swedish job visa application is to make sure you can provide all of the documents in digital copy. So you will need a digital copy of your passport that shows your personal data, photo, signature, passport number, issuing country, period of validity, entries time, and if you have permission to live in a country other than your country of origin. Let's say, for example, you are from India and you live in Australia, but you want to move to Sweden. You would have to prove that you are legally living in Australia by providing either an entry visa into Australia or your visa in Australia to prove that you are legally staying in Australia. You would have to provide digital copies of your examination certificates, digital copies of your official transcript of academic records to show the courses included in your education. So you would provide a digital copy of your degree, a digital copy of your transcript, digital copies of your bank statement or other documents showing that you have sufficient funds to support yourself during the period for which you are applying for a resident permit. If permission from a central bank or the equivalent is required to take out the money from your country, you must include such a permit. What they are trying to say here is that while you are already in Sweden and you've already searched for a job and you found a job, while you must have already submitted document for a work permit, you're not supposed to start working. You're supposed to have enough money that you can use to take care of yourself in Sweden while waiting for your work permit to come out. It is only after you must have received your work permit in Sweden that you can start working legally and earn money. So let's say you went to Sweden and you've stayed in Sweden for 1 month, you've not yet found a job. You're supposed to have enough fund that will take care of you during the 1 month that you've been searching for a job. Let's say in the second month you found a job. You're supposed to apply for a work permit. While waiting for your work permit to be issued, you're equally supposed to have enough money to take care of yourself while waiting for your work permit to come out. You're not supposed to be working. You're supposed to make sure you have enough fund to take care of you while you're already in Sweden. So you provide a digital copy of a bank statement showing that you have money that will take care of you during that wait period. Next thing is digital copies of documents showing that you have comprehensive health insurance that is valid for care in Sweden. I'll talk about the right health insurance that you're supposed to have as we proceed, but make sure that you provide all of these documents in digital form. Next one is digital copy of a signed letter of consent that gives the Swedish Council for Higher Education, UHR, the right to contact higher education institution in your home country to verify your educational document, or maybe the country where you obtained your degree. We talked about the document. This document, you would have to fill it out and then scan it and send it. That is what they mean by digital copy. Digital copy simply means you scan and then you send all of the documents we've mentioned up there, and then be able to pay any fee for the application by credit card or debit card, which means you should be able to use an online banking system to pay any associated fees that will be linked to the application for this job search visa. Next, you must make sure that you have your documents either in English or Swedish language. In case your documents are not either in Swedish or English language, you will have to make sure you translate the documents. Here it says you may need to translate some documents. If your examination certificate and official transcript are issued in a language other than Swedish or English, they have to be translated into Swedish or English. The translation must be done by an authorized translator. Enclose copies of the original documents and translated documents to your application. So for example, let's say you're coming from a French speaking country. You're supposed to make sure that you send the original document in French and then translated copies. The translation must be done by an authorized translator, somebody who has the right to do translation, certified translator in your country. And they must make sure they send the original document, which is in French, and then the translated copy. Also make sure that the information in the documents that you will be sending are clearly visible. Information like your name should appear in the document in a visible form. And then, like we said, the documents should be translated into Swedish or English by an authorized public translator if they are issued either in French or in any other language. And then when attaching a translated document, you should always provide a copy of the original. We talked about that. The document should be as recently issued as possible. Proof of your health insurance, bank statement, and any other translation. Any of these documents that they've mentioned here, like proof of your insurance, bank statement, and any other document that will require translation, should be recent. They should be at least 3 months, and they should be either in English or Swedish language. It's very important that you take into account that. Next thing is that you must have a valid passport. They say send copies of the pages in your passport that show your personal data, photo signature, passport number, issuing country, period of validity, and if you have permission to live in a country other than your home country. Like I said, in case you're coming from India and you live maybe in Australia, or maybe you live in Denmark but want to move to Sweden, you must prove that you're legally staying in those countries by either showing an entry stamp or your permit to stay in that country. Also, it is important to take note of this. It says it is important that the full passport pages are present on the copies. Numbers and characters at the top and bottom of the pages must be very clearly visible. The passport must be valid for the time that you will be in Sweden. It is very important. So make sure that when you're scanning your passport, you're scanning the full passport. Do not leave any characters that are in the passport out. Another requirement that you would have to fulfill is financial support. They say you must show that you have secured your financial support for the time for which you are applying for a resident permit. This means you must demonstrate that you have bank assets equivalent to SEK 13,000 for each month for which you are applying for a resident permit. In addition to this, you should have money to be able to pay your travel home. It is very important, like I explained before, that you're supposed to have money to take care of yourself while you're waiting for your work permit to be issued, which means you would have to make sure you have at least 13,000 SEK Swedish money. This is equivalent to about $1,200 per month. So you would have to multiply it to be safe. Make it $1,200 by 12 months, which means the money should be able to take you for a year in Sweden. So you would just simply have to multiply 13,000 SEK, which is Swedish SEK, by 12 months, or $1,200 by 12 months, because 13,000 SEK is equivalent to $1,200. You should also make sure you have enough money that can pay your transportation back to your home country. The next other condition that you must fulfill is to make sure you have a comprehensive health insurance. You must have your own health insurance that is valid for care in Sweden. It says here the insurance must cover the entire period for which you are applying for a permit. The insurance must cover the cost of both emergency and other medical care, as well as hospitalization, dental care, and possible repatriation for medical reasons. Most important, the insurance term for the insurance policy you have taken must be attached to your application. So what they are trying to say here, that you must have a health insurance that will cover you for the period of your permit or stay in Sweden. The insurance must cover the cost of emergency. Let's say you have an emergency health situation. The insurance must be able to cover you during emergency situation and other medical cares. In case you're hospitalized, the insurance should be able to cover you during your hospitalization. In case you have a dental care, like you have a toothache or something, it should cover that. And then most importantly, the policy of the insurance, the terms and policy of the insurance must be explained. It is important for me to state here that you don't have to go and take any type of insurance. The type of insurance that has mostly worked for other people in this Swedish job seeker visa is the expatriate health and travel insurance. Any other insurance might not help, so I will recommend that you go with the expatriate health and travel insurance when applying for this visa. The next condition that has to fulfill is that in case you're not able to apply through the e-service, the e-service is where you have to send your documents digitally by scanning the necessary documents and uploading them to the website. If that cannot work, they say in case you cannot make your application in the e-service, you should instead fill in the application form, resident permit for highly qualified persons to look for work or start a business. The application form states which document you must attach. In the application form, there is a letter of consent to the Swedish Council for Higher Education to contact higher education institution in your country to verify your educational documents. It is important that you attach the letter of consent to your application. What they are trying to say here is that make sure you fill out this application form, the resident permit for highly qualified persons to look for work or start a business in Sweden. You have to fill out all of this information here that you're seeing in this document. You have to take your time, fill it out. You can actually type it directly here on this page, and then they have equally attached that letter of consent that they will send to your university where you graduated to verify your educational claims. You have to make sure you include it because you're not sending the documents electronically. You will be sending them in hard copy. So make sure you go through all of this information, and then this is the website, the official website for application. The next thing is what will happen after you must have filled out this document. You say you must submit the form and attached document at a Swedish embassy or consulate general in your country of residence. If it is not possible to apply in your country, you must apply at the embassy or consulate general that is closest to the country where you live. Contact the embassy or consulate general before submitting your application for more information. So let's say you're from India, let's use India again, and then you're currently living in Australia or maybe Denmark, a European country, and you want to move to Sweden. You have to make sure you apply through either the Swedish embassy in Australia or in Denmark or their consulate. But before you do that, make sure you contact them either through email or by phone call to have more information, so that you will have every necessary information that you need before you go in to submit the documents that you would have prepared for this application. Here they say if you are applying at an embassy or consulate general, you pay the fee when handling in your application. For information regarding the fee, contact the embassy in question or consulate, as they do not follow the same fee regulation as the Swedish Migration Agency. So it is important for you to contact embassy or consulate where you will be applying to know the fee and know that you will pay the fee upfront when handing your documents. It is important that you prepare the fee when going to handing the documents for this job seeker visa to travel to Sweden for a job or start a business. And then the next thing is, once they have received your application, the permit may be granted for a minimum of 3 months and no more than 9 months. Like I said, it cannot be less than 3 months and it cannot be more than 9 months. It is important for you to make sure that when applying for this job seeker visa, you have enough fund that will cover you for at least more than 9 months when applying. As far as the bank statement is concerned, make sure you have enough fund that will cover you for more than 9 months staying in Sweden. After submitting your document for them to grant you the work permit, they say the Swedish Migration Agency must check your passport before a decision is made. You may therefore need to show your passport at a Swedish embassy or consulate general if you are outside Sweden, or one of the migration agency service centers if you are in Sweden. In some cases, you will not be required to show your passport. For example, if we have already checked your passport during a previous visit, so if you had once visited the embassy or consulate for visa, they might no longer want to check your passport. But if they've never checked your passport before, if you've never visited them before, they might have to check your passport before making a decision on your work permit. And they say if you need to show your passport, we will contact you with information on how and when to do so. Next thing is what happens after a decision is made. If you get a permit for more than 3 months, you will receive a resident permit card. The card is proof that you have permission to be in Sweden and contains your fingerprint fingerprints and a photo of you, among other information. And with the resident permit, that gives you the authority to work in Sweden legally. So guys, this is it about the job seeker visa that will allow you to work in Sweden or start a business in Sweden. In case you have any doubts, I'll provide a link to this website on the description section of this video. You might want to click it and then read more. It is always important for you to read everything carefully. Take your time, read everything, understand it well before applying, because one of the reasons why people don't usually succeed in most of their applications is because they don't take the time to read and get the right information. Take the time to also read it well and understand. In case there is anything that you don't understand, please leave a comment down in the video, and then I would try to respond as soon as I can. That being said, if you know you've not yet subscribed to the channel, why not begin by hitting that subscription button, and then I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.